Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 11 of 30 Days of Prosperity. So, today I'm going to, or the topic is, faith is supernatural. Okay, so today I just want to talk briefly, about, faith being supernatural. Like I said, the other day, I talked about the five physical senses and how basically we have been molded and conditioned over the years, to trust and to rely on our five physical senses, which are sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. So, like I said, we have been taught as children to rely and to depend on our five physical senses. But faith is not a part of those five physical senses. Faith is supernatural. Remember, I said I made, you know, uh, the whole basis, like pretty much for my book, Faith Style, the Christian's Mantra for Victorious Living. It came about through a conversation that I was having with my husband, while in the car. He was driving, I was sitting in the passenger seat, and he said something, and I was like, yeah, right, I believe it when I see it. But once I made that statement, I said, wait a minute, why did I say that? I had to really, like, check myself, like, wait a minute, why did I say that? I said, no, that's not a statement of faith. And I said, no, because with faith, we have to believe it before we see it. Okay. So, because we have been molded and conditioned by the five physical senses, I think it makes it difficult for a lot of people to even operate in faith. Or once they do operate in faith, they'll go back to the natural because that's what they've been conditioned and molded to rely on, for so many years. So that's why I want to reiterate that faith is supernatural. Remember, so Hebrews 11:1, I read the scripture that said, that what describes faith. Okay, so Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And it says in verse 2, for by it the elders obtained a good report. So it's verse 2 is telling us that for by it, which means faith, the elders, the people in the Bible that we read about, obtained a good report. And I said Hebrews 11, the whole chapter of Hebrews 11 is basically a chapter talking about the hall of faith, people who are in the hall of faith because they use their faith to obtain a good report. They use this supernatural force of faith to obtain a good report. Okay. And I said, after reading that, I said, I describe faith as, an invisible dynamic force that makes the invisible visible. So I'm going to go ahead and add supernatural to that. Faith is a supernatural, invisible dynamic force that makes the invisible visible. Okay, so like I said, faith is supernatural, and we cannot bring faith to a natural level. Okay, so I'm going to read today Hebrews 11:6. It says, but without faith, it is impossible to please God. Um, for he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Okay, so that verse is telling you in the first part that it's even impossible to please God without faith. We need faith to please God. Okay, and then it says, the next part says, for he that cometh to God must believe that he is. So we gotta believe and use our faith to know that God is, because God is not someone that, like, say for instance, I'm interacting, you know, with my husband. So we're in the same room together. We're sitting down having a conversation. And I can see him, and I'm talking to him, looking at him, talking to him. And he's there. So it doesn't take belief or faith to acknowledge his presence, because he's sitting right before me and I can see him. But so it don't take faith for me to know that he's real. Okay? But with God, even though God is unseen, that we cannot see him, you know, we have to have faith that God even exists. We got to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that God exists, even though we cannot see him, but even though we can't see him, we talk to him, okay, because we believe that God is who he says he is, even though we cannot see him, okay. And it says, the next part of that scripture says, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So even though we cannot see God, we seek God, okay? Like I said, we have conversations with him, and we seek him like by reading his word. We seek him by praying to him. We seek him by talking to him. Even though we can't see him, that we are seeking him, okay, despite what we can see. And it says right there that God is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him, because God is going to reward you based on you knowing you cannot see him, but you still decide to seek him anyway. you know so ladies and gentlemen, God is a supernatural God. Salvation is supernatural, and faith is supernatural. And we cannot bring those things down to our natural levels, to our five physical senses. Okay, we got to keep them where they are to operate effectively in them. Okay, so that's all I wanted to really say today, is to let you all know that faith is supernatural. We cannot bring it down to the natural level. God gave us faith for a purpose, to go beyond what we can see with our natural eyes. I look at prayer. I remember I did a paper for school, and we were to write about, I believe, prayer. I think that was the topic we were supposed to write about. And I said, I love prayer, because when I'm praying, I'm not just limited to what I see. I can go beyond what I see in prayer, and be have access to more, than what I can see. I can have access through prayer more than the visible, and then I can rely on prayer to make the invisible visible as well, by through my faith in that prayer. So yes, I want to reiterate that this morning. That God is supernatural, salvation is supernatural, and faith is supernatural. So that's all I have for today. And I hope that helps, some of you who may be thinking about, some of the things that I've talked about so far. So God bless, and have a beautiful, amazing day. God bless, and take care.